Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at Noon.
As doctors treat the latest American Ebola patient, officials try fears. I'm Don Champion. Coming up, what's being done to make sure no one else gets infected.
Only 2 days left to enjoy this year's fall meet at Keeneland.
Looking over in Richmond and Madison County, things look good. Mixture of sun and clouds. Now, as we head throughout the afternoon, we'll be in the 60s. And toward the weekend, we're talking 60s and 70s for both Saturday and Sunday. Looks good, too. And I'll show you that forecast coming up. WKYT News at Noon starts right now.
And here's what's happening at noon. We're tracking a developing story out of southern Kentucky this midday. Good afternoon to you from WKYT News. I'm Bill Bryant with Barbara Bailey. A Knox County grand jury has just indicted 2 deputy jailers for assaulting an inmate.
38-year-old Sheila Brown and 32-year-old Jennifer Ross are both charged with criminal abuse, official misconduct, and 4th-degree assault. The incident happened earlier this month. The indictment says the deputy jailers struck an inmate while she was physically helpless. A trial date has now been set for 2 men accused of kidnapping and killing a Lexington man. Mark Taylor is charged with kidnapping and murder. Police say he killed Alex Johnson and dumped his body in the Kentucky River in December of last year. Timothy Ballard is facing kidnapping and evidence tampering charges. WKYT's Mark Barber is outside the Fayette County Court complex now with the very latest on the case. Mark
Taylor's attorney says because he is facing the death penalty, she needs at least a year to prepare for the trial. This morning, a judge set the case to go to trial on October 5th, 2015. Attorneys believe that the trial will last 4 to 6 weeks. 28-year-old Mark Taylor faced a judge this morning with Timothy Ballard, the man who police say helped Taylor lure Johnson into a car back in December. Investigators tell us Taylor then beat Alex Johnson to death and dumped his body in the Kentucky River. Johnson's body was found about a month later in a blue barrel near a restaurant off of Old Richmond Road. The coroner tells us he had to identify the body by Johnson's left and right thumbprints. According to those who know Taylor, he used to work at a restaurant that was near the search scene. He was found and arrested a few miles from the Mexican border. Taylor is charged with murder and kidnapping. Ballard is also charged with kidnapping and evidence tampering. Taylor's attorney, Sandra Downs, isn't discussing the case, but she is saying that she believes the trial will be interesting. Downs says if the case is settled, it could happen at the next status hearing, which is scheduled for January 30th. But she tells me she believes this case will proceed to trial. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Now, both men have pleaded not guilty. 2 UK students are behind bars this midday after a late-night home invasion on campus. Police say 3 men tried to break into an apartment on Gazette Avenue just before midnight. One of the men had a rifle, but it was broken during a struggle. The suspects took off, and after a brief investigation, police arrested 2 of the people inside the apartment. Samuel McKinley is charged with trafficking and cultivating marijuana. Dwight Covington is charged with trafficking.
Police are investigating a string of gas station robberies in central Kentucky. They've happened in several locations. The holdups at Ken's Fuel Express in downtown Cynthiana, the Fast Max on US 27, and at the first stop on Pleasant Street. WKYT's Victor Puente has the latest on the search for possible suspects. Victor?
In the video of this robbery, you can clearly see the knife the robber used to threaten the clerk. This isn't the first gas station robbery in Cynthiana this month. Sunday night, this man walked into Ken's Fuel Express in downtown Cynthiana and robbed it at knife point. Cashiers tell me he told the clerk to open the drawer, then ran around the counter and took all the cash except the $1 bills. Once he was gone, the clerk locked the door and called 911. According to the Cynthiana Democrat, this is the 3rd robbery here in less than a month. They say police are investigating a robbery from September 30th at the Fast Max on US 27, where the suspect had a gun and a ski mask. Then on October 4th, they say police responded to a robbery at the first stop on Pleasant Street. That robber kept his hands in his pockets and implied a weapon. The cashiers here are hoping someone will be able to identify their robber, either from his face or from his coat, which had blue stripes running down the arms. In Harrison County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Victor, thank you. The Cynthiana Democrat reports police do have surveillance video in those other two robberies, and they're checking to see if there could be some connections. The U.S. Senate candidates are back on the campaign trail this midday with less than 2 weeks before the general election. Incumbent Republican Senator Mitch McConnell's coal bus tour rolling into western Kentucky now. He's making stops in Muhlenberg, Hopkins, Henderson, and Union counties. Congressman Ed Whitfield is joining him on that portion of the tour. Meanwhile, Democratic Senate candidate Allison Lundergan Grimes kicked off a bus tour of her own this morning. She started out in Garrett County. Right now, she's at the Kentucky Depot restaurant in Lincoln County, where she's having lunch. Recent polls show a dead heat between the two candidates. A man who filed a lawsuit against Kentucky Kingdom is now saying that he just wants his medical bills paid. Brandon McClellan and Felicia Evans say they both followed lifeguard instructions, but they were given the wrong tube for the water slide, which caused them to fall and get hurt. Kentucky Kingdom, though, says they're faking their injuries. Leaders with the park claim they haven't seen any medical records, and McClellan was negligent because he exceeded the ride's weight limits.
Well, after a rather chilly week, things are finally looking up as we head into the weekend. We're expecting to see sunny skies, much warmer temperatures, a perfect weekend for Keeneland and UK football and everything else that's going on. WKYT meteorologist Micah Harris is live in our First Alert Weather Center now. An early look at the forecast. Micah.
Well, I think you nailed it when you said everything else going on. There's a lot happening this weekend, and it looks like really good weather for it. Right now, we're in the mid-50s for most, even some upper 50s here and there. And look, Bowling Green has had sunshine pretty much all day, and they're at 61. We've had some clouds laying around, but I'm thinking these clouds are going to separate, and now we're going to start to see a little bit more sunshine as we head into the afternoon, because the system to the north of us is now starting to fall apart, which means we shouldn't expect more clouds than sunshine this afternoon. So there's the look right now. It still looks good, but I think we'll bump our temperatures up to the 60s as we get into the 4 to 5 p.m. time frame. In toward 8 p.m., it's football weather. It'll feel pretty nice. It'll be on the cool side nonetheless. You have to take a light coat, but other than that, at least we stay dry. In toward the weekend, it gets even warmer. I'll show you maybe some 70s popping up here and there coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, look forward to that, and we'll see you shortly. And Keeneland on this beautiful day is sending the fall meet out with a bang this weekend.
Racing comes to a close tomorrow, and the racetrack is going out in style by helping UK celebrate homecoming. Kentucky, of course, taking on the nation's #1 team, Mississippi State, on national TV. WKYT's Whitney Wetzel is live at Keeneland with a preview of all the festivities going on. Whitney?
Only 2 days left to enjoy this year's fall meet here at Keeneland. Today is Sea Blue Day, since this is also the start of UK's homecoming weekend. UK students, faculty, and alumni will get free admission to the track, as well as access to reserved grandstand seating with a valid UK ID. Lextran is also providing a shuttle for students between UK and Keeneland for just $1 each way until 5 o'clock. The shuttle will pick up at Wildcat Plaza and drop off at the Hill from now until 2. After 2, the shuttle will follow its normal route to and from Keeneland. Now tomorrow, the last day of this year's fall meet, Keeneland is partnering with WKYT to host a daily double tailgate watch party on the Hill. There, fans can watch UK take on Mississippi State and watch the races. Both will be shown on video display boards throughout the racetrack. But back out here today, gates opened about an hour ago, and post time for the first race is set for 1:05. Reporting at Keeneland, Whitney Wetzel, WKYT.
All right, thank you. And a pep rally just started at the Hill a few minutes ago. The first 500 students to ride the Lextran shuttle from campus to Keeneland will get a Sea Blue Day t-shirt.